Have you ever felt like a square peg in a round hole? Like the role you were playing really didn't fit well? Mr. Toastmaster, gracious members of the Bryant Park Toastmasters Club, and most welcome guests, today I'd like to tell you a story of how I was a square peg in a round hole and what happened. It all begins in Staten Island, which is where I grew up, in an Italian-American family. Now, some of you may know that in an Italian-American family, the father is the boss. So was the case in my family. I went away to college. I began studying civil engineering, and I decided that it wasn't right for me. So I said to my dad, "Dad, you know what? I think I'd like to study art." And you know what my dad said? "What, are you crazy? You're not going to get a job with an art degree. You need to get a degree in an area where you'll get a job and you'll become independent." Independent, that sounded pretty good. But accounting, it was like a death sentence for me. Nonetheless, I felt I did not have a choice, so I went to school and got the accounting degree. Came out of college and landed a job with Young & Rubicam, which some of you may know is a major international ad agency. And in 10 short years, I became the CFO of a $100 million subsidiary. Along the way, I always loved the people that I worked with, but the job itself never felt quite right for me. I needed a channel for my creative energy. I loved design, and I also wanted to have an opportunity to build the business. And in the role I was in, I just felt there was a limited opportunity to do that. I felt boxed in. I used to dream about having other people's jobs, and I really felt trapped. One day, while sitting in my office, I had a corner office. I was looking down on Madison Avenue. I funded my retirement account. I bought the apartment. And suddenly, I realized, holy moly, this is not my dream. This is my father's dream. And in that moment, I knew I was beginning to become resentful. And I also knew that when I left, no matter what I decided to do, even if I was a complete dismal failure, it would be better than a life of bitterness and resentment. So without much preparation, soon thereafter, I left my job to start my own design company, quite ill-prepared. And in 20 years, which is the subject of another speech, it became GOGOgracious. What is GOGOgracious? GOGOgracious is a women's clothing line that's designed by a woman for women, and it's all about what we are as women today, which is feminine, self-assured, but at the same time practical and flexible. It's not someone else's idea of what a professional woman should look like. It's a line, as I said, for women. So it's not about what's the trend of the season, or what color is in this season, or I want to live in lounge clothes. It's all about getting dressed in the morning really easy, feeling great, and going from working at home to a business meeting, out to dinner, pick up the kids, and maybe even getting on an airplane, all pretty much without changing. So I ask you, man or woman, is there something in your life that isn't fitting right? If so, I'd like to share some of the things I learned that helped me along the way. 3 things. First, walk into the fear. We're all afraid. It's a natural human emotion. I speak about fear all the time, and I have a laundry list of fears. But in the words of the spiritual leader Joyce Meyer, do it afraid. That's the difference. We all have it, The question is, what do we do about it? Are we going to let it stop us, or are we going to take a step? I talk to myself about that all the time. The second thing is seek information and seek support and information. So what does that mean? Well, it's helped me to find people who've done what I seek to do and get to know them and read books. And this I learned from Dave Ramsey, the best-selling author and financial advisor, who said, "Your life will only change by the people that you meet and the books that you read." And finally, make time for reflection. A while ago, I read about Benjamin Franklin, who each week would sit down in his study on a Saturday afternoon and take an hour and make 2 columns. In one column, he wrote everything that went well that week. In the other column, he wrote the things that did not go well. Of course, he celebrated the things that went well, but for the things that did not go well, he asked himself, what role did I play in this? And how might I adapt my behavior to do better? And that's helped me a lot of times with a lot of things that did not go well. To sum it all up, one of the greatest things that I love about GoGogracious is that we are also a direct selling company. So what does that mean? Simply stated, it means that I get to help other entrepreneurial women develop a business and do that, become independent, all while maintaining control of their schedules and having flexibility. And the reason that that's so satisfying for me is because I wish I had known about it while I was at Young and Rubicam, so I could have tried it. And we're certainly never encouraging people to quit their jobs the way I did. It's a wonderful opportunity, and it's because I wanted to have it. It's exciting for me and very gratifying for me to share it with others. So if you are ready to take a next step in your life, I am happy to engage and talk to you after the meeting about anything at all. Mr. Toastmaster.